Hello friends, it's Shauna here with some instructions for the December 2025 class. Instead of cards this month, we made a stand-up easel calendar that also holds some sticky notes and a couple Christmas tags, gift tags. So I'm going to get started showing you how I put together the stand-up easel calendar. And just so you know, the calendar is sized so that it fits really nicely into one of our clear envelopes. So if you wanted to gift it to someone, slip it in a stocking, you'd be able to do that. So it lays flat, but then because it's got the the easel mechanism, it will stand up. And then there's a stack of some sticky notes and a little decoration and a note saying, "You're the best." And you might want to change that out to say, you know, maybe you've got a stamp that says, "Have a great day," or some other kind of positive saying. And yeah, we'll get started putting the easel calendar together. So there's a package that looks like this in my envelope here, and also a calendar base. And let me move that off to the side a bit. Pull these items out. There's a few different things. I did not do any stamping as per the Stampin' Up! Policy. I'm not allowed to pre-stamp, but I did cut out some of these little leafy branches. And if you're wondering where these items came from, a month or so ago, Stampin' Up! Released a new set of online exclusives, and Friendly Foliage was part of that online exclusive, and it's a set of stamps and dies. These are the new cases that everything is coming in. And just to let you know that you will now be able to fit your dies in with the stamp envelope. They will all fit together. They're the same size. I probably should put the dies inside so they don't flop around all over, but you're able to do that. I just thought I'd show you here really quickly how it does fit just like that, all in one envelope. And then you could use this envelope for some embellishments or something like that. But that's where I got the leaf shape from for the die cuts. And then this little leaf that's up here, hopefully you can see that on the video, I think you can, is just right here. Now, the "You're the Best" came from, that's right here, came from an entirely different set. I think it was the Dino, I was going to say Dino Days. No, it's Darling Dinos. As I said, I was looking for something positive. You're the best. You could also put "I love you," so that every time your family member or loved one looks at the calendar, they know they're loved. But yeah, you can see what you might like to put there. So I'll give you the measurements. If you decide you want to try making more little easel calendars, then you'll be able to refer back to this, and you're welcome to save this video maybe to a list of Stampin' videos that are helpful for you. The calendars are the Tailored Expression calendars. They come out of the States, and I have a Stampin' friend who orders them in bulk to Canada. And then she mails them to me here in Moose Jaw, a Canadian friend in Edmonton. So probably starting in, I don't know, February, March of 2026, she's going to order the 2027 calendars, and they come in packs of 10. So if you're interested in getting a pack of 10, let me know and I can add you to the bulk shipping group. Our calendar base is 8.5 by 5.5, and then it is scored at 2 3/4. Just make sure I've got that right. No, sorry. Scored at 2 1/8, 2 1/8, 2 1/8, and 4 1/4. I'm a little bit tired today, so got to double check on those measurements. Then the next layer here is Lost Lagoon, and it's 5 1/4 by 4. So that just layers on like that. And then the next layer, which has been embossed with this greenery embossing folder, and I cannot think of the name of it right now. It is 5 inches by 3 3/4. Yes. Then there is a strip of Lost Lagoon, and it is 3/4 of an inch wide and 5 1/4 inches long. Another piece of Lost Lagoon, and it is 2 3/4 by 3.5 by 2 3/4. And then another 2 smaller pieces of cardstock. This piece of Lost Lagoon is 3 inches by 2 1/4. And then this one is 2 3/4 by 2 inches. And that's the basic white. We've got, I don't know, what is that, about 10 inches or so of the linen thread. We've got our mini tear-off calendars, and in case you're wondering what the dimensions of those are, they're 3 inches by 2 3/4, and then some low-profile sparkle dots. These are the dots that came in. They were featured with the Painterly Pear suite. So, and I think they're maybe Darling Duckling, but they seem to go fairly well with these yellow sticky notes. And I did splurge, and I got the good sticky notes. These are the Post-it brand of sticky notes, so they, have some good stick to them. And this is half a pack of 100. I mean, you could put a full pack of 100 there. It just means it won't fold quite as flat. Maybe doesn't fit quite as easily into the clear envelope. So we're going to get started putting all these pieces together. So I'm going to go first with layering these to the embossed white on top of onto the Lost Lagoon. And now, while I'm thinking about it, and using the brain cells that I happen to have left, I'm going to glue this onto the front of the calendar, the calendar base, but I'm going to be careful, and I'm only going to glue it down here because I want this to be able to turn into an easel and pop up. So if I glued it down completely flat, it would just be a regular open and fold card, but I want it to be an easel. All right, so the glue is going to go just here at the bottom, and I better leave an extra little bit because there will be a down at the bottom, and the two sides there will be a bit of a border there. And then I'm going to stop doing the gluing for a bit and do a little bit of stamping. Actually, there's another stamp set, another stamp that I'm going to use that I didn't mention at the beginning. I mentioned the friendly foliage, but there's something else, and I don't know if you would be able to spy it. So I'll hold this sample up a little bit closer. If it's not too blurry, there's a little bit of texture on this long piece of Lost Lagoon and this piece of Lost Lagoon. And that is another new online exclusive that was introduced, and it's the Lasting Linen background stamp. And I just realized I don't have the case close by, but it's bigger than the front of a card, and it's got a linen look. And I'm going to be inking up these two pieces to give them just that linen texture. And if you don't have a linen background stamp, you might have another background stamp that has a very small texture to it, or you just might want to skip this part of it. You can make that call. So I'm going to pull in my Lost Lagoon ink. So it's just going to be a tone on tone, subtle background look. Whoops. Okay. And with most background stamps, I like to use them so that they are face up. They're easy to access the pattern that way. And next, I'll start with this bigger piece first. I'm going to look and see which looks like the nicest side. That'll be the front. Lay that down. Next, I'm going to pull in a piece of scrap paper. And finally, if you've got a block handy, you can push with a block like this to make sure that all parts of the linen pattern make contact with your cardstock. Or if you have one of these little pushers, this works really well too. This was a pusher that I was given for my Stamparatus, and it is just so handy. Yes, it's like one of those air hockey pieces. So I'm going to gently lift that off. Maybe I'll go in with take your pick tool just to grab it. So there, linen textured piece number 1. Now I need to go back in with my ink pad. Like, does this fit? Yeah, I'm going to have to go the long way. So make sure I get either end. And I'm going to use this again. So I try and be safe, but not get anything sitting into it. Linen piece number 2. And there we go. With a block or a pusher. Okay, and I can move the linen background stamp out of the way now. And I'm going to grab these two pieces. So I've got the You're the Best. Now it'll just get stamped down here at the bottom of this small basic white piece. Trying to see with the camera sort of in the way. Now, for here, what I did originally is I stamped and cut out just from little pieces of scrap basic white 2 of these branches and then 1 of these. But you may or may not have that stamp set. So I just die cut 2 of the leaves, so you can just layer them on like that. But you may have another kind of leaf in your stash that you can add in there. It's up to you. I'm just going to put those 2 right there, just like that, just the 2 of them. But there's one more thing I was going to stamp, and this is it. It's kind of fun. On the very front piece, I'm not going to do this on every single page of the sticky note pad. Just going to do it on the top one. Add a little leaf accent here in the corner. So when I give it to my son at Christmas in his stocking, it'll just be a little bit extra decoration. And I tried to make the calendar not too flowery so that it could be given to, you know, males or females, because guys need sticky notes too. So now that I've got my linen band, I'm going to glue that across the front. and shooting for somewhere in the middle. Oop. Nothing like getting an extra little bit of glue in there. Okay, so middle is about there-ish, I think. Let's see, how does that work? If I go 1, 2, 3, 4 lines that way, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines that way, yeah, that's about the middle. And then the mini calendar will get glued to the center of this other piece that we stamped with the linen background stamp. I like having that moment to be able to adjust my gluing. Just get it a little bit straighter than when I first set it down. There we go. And then I'm going to glue this flat onto the front. I mean, you could also use dimensionals if you wanted to pop it up more. It just makes it maybe a little bit tighter to go into the clear envelope if you do that. And something like that. Sometimes I find if I turn it sideways, I can see if it looks crooked from other angles. And so there's probably hopefully three of the embellishments tucked in your package. And I'm going to put the two big ones here on the outside, just on either side of the calendar. A little pop of sunshine. And now for the inside. So I'll move this up out of the way to start with. I guess I'll glue these two pieces down before I go any further. These require very tiny little spit spots of glue. And so when I'm gluing something really narrow like this, I tend to look for like where they have the branches joined together, because generally where the join parts are, it's a little bit wider, a little bit thicker. So it means I don't glue exactly all parts of it, but enough to hold it. That. And before I glue this one down, I might do a little bit of an audition to see where exactly I want it. If I go lower, those branches tend to overlap. I guess I could go a little bit more out to the side. Could do like that. Or I could do higher. You can decide where you'd best like your branches to be glued down. And then we are going to add a little bit of linen thread. Just like that, I think I'll go. going to give this a minute just to dry before I do any more gluing with that. So the next part I'm going to is the sticky notes. And I'm going to leave just a very little bit, like maybe an 1/8 of an inch here and about an 1/8 of an inch here. As you can see, there will be this piece here too. These two pieces are the same height. And actually, if you want them to meet together in the middle, you could get about the same amount of space, same amount of a border on the sides here, something like that. So I'll glue this down. And if you run out of sticky notes before the end of 2026, you can sure glue another pad down too. Let's see. I'm going to put that there. There could be a little separation between the two as well. There. And yeah, that will catch like that. And I'm going to use, no, I'm going to glue this flat, and dimensionals will go on the back of the Lost Lagoon. There. And so we've got linen thread. And you know what? You have linen thread from your kit, and I just cut some more. Okay, wiki, here we go. And you've probably got way more than you need, so you may end up cutting some off. The other thing with the linen thread, if you find it like really, really curled up, you can take and stretch it a bit just to straighten it out. I sometimes find it easier to work with if I do that. But it's sometimes nice to have a little bit of curl in the ends that hang. So yeah, you can see what you're going for and what you're able to work with. Oh yes, we've got plenty of linen thread here. All right. So that's going to get glue dotted there. I'm going to make it, really, it doesn't need to be very big. Don't want to overdo it too much with the leaves are very delicate to begin with, so it's not like we need to overshadow the leaves with a bunch of the linen thread. Now I'm grabbing a glue dot and I'm giving it a little bit of a roll up to make it fairly narrow. I'm going to set my center of my bow right into the glue dot there. Okay, and little haircut. There we go. And I'll use dimensionals for this, just to pop it up, because then that also helps. That provides another bit of a ledge for the easel to bump against. That's how the easel manages to stand up. Okay. There. Do you do that? Do you push into, with your fingernail, push into the dimensional so that you can have a corner of it to grab? I find that kind of handy. Just give it a little pop with my fingernail and grab the piece that bends upward. Okay, so now just make sure that we've got some good fold in there. And there we go. We've got the, ooh, okay. So if that's the case, I need to go back in and maybe do a little bit more folding there. There we go. Yeah, so you need to get your folds good and bendy. There's the new word of the day, good and bendy, so that it will stay into place. Just like that. There we go. So, January 2026. Oh, yes, and this is 2026. My sample here says 2025, but yours should be 2026. And yeah, those are ready to go. I'm going to have to find one of my, I think I've got like 2 extra 2026s. I'm going to have to find one and peel this one off and put the new one on there. So I've got one for each of my boys. Now, 2 more quick projects for you. At December's class, we made some Christmas gift tags. And so we made 2 of these tags with the doves and then 2 of another kind of tag. And I'll just demonstrate one of them, and that'll give you the idea of how we did both of them. And just to explain to you what product we've used, the doves were cut from the Peace on Earth dies that go with the Peace on Earth bundle. And those, this whole bundle is great for Christmas and also for sympathy. But the For Someone Extra Special came from a completely different stamp set. I've used a variety of products for this class. In the 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar stamp set, there's this For Someone Extra Special. And I really like that. It's nice for Christmas, for gift giving. It's just, it fits into a nice space, and it's just a lovely sentiment. And then on the back here, where it says Merry Christmas, I used a 3rd stamp set. I used this Merry and this Christmas from the Jolly Holly stamp set. So I better grab my pieces from my envelope. There we go. That sparkly paper, which is so pretty, also was featured with the suite, the Peace on Earth suite, and they called it the Peaceful Garden Glimmer Paper, and it's the bright blue. And you know, I don't know, yeah, they just, on the package, they call it blue. So it's not a perfect match with Misty Moonlight, but Misty Moonlight is the color that I decided to use, because the blue that I decided to use, because we're also using Misty Moonlight silver edged ribbon, which is so pretty and was also featured with that bundle. So like I said, I'll just do one of these, but they both go together in a similar fashion. So which bird am I going to get here? Oh, that one. And there's 2 of these and some of the baker's twine. The baker's twine here is a knockoff version that I've been using because I have to get more of the Stampin' Up! Brand. So first thing, down at the bottom here, For Someone Extra Special. I'm going to stamp that with the Misty Moonlight ink. Do all the inking and get that out of the way. And while I've got the ink out, ooh, it looks like I really need to juice this up. Got to remember to do that. I'm going to turn the glimmer paper over, and on the back of the glimmer paper, I will stamp the Merry Christmas. And I think I did Merry Christmas up at the top, so then I could do the 2 from underneath, just do my own 2 and from. All right. Oh, no, keep the ink. Need one more thing. Going to grab a blending brush and do a little bit of blending here. I'm going to see how much ink is already in this brush, because sometimes there's quite a bit. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of soft blue. Where's my scrap paper that I had from before? I'll add a little bit more. I like to do the blot off. And then I touch my blending brush and I just do soft circles, sometimes starting in the middle and kind of working out. There we go. Yeah, I think that's about all that I'm going to do. I like mine fairly soft. I find that if once I touch the brush and I just do the soft circles, I keep the bristles touching. If you keep going touch, 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 sometimes you get sort of wisps of color or brush strokes of color, and I just wanted it to be more of a muted, sort of like a fog, soft fog. Now I can close this guy up. And next thing is I'm going to do a hole punch. I'm not going to glue. You do have the option. If you want to glue those pieces together, you can. But I liked how if you leave them unglued, they can swing apart and you can see extra of the pretty glimmer paper. So just holding those together like that. I'm going to grab, it's just a regular hole punch, you know, the one that would fit in a 3-ring binder. So nothing, not a super small. I don't know what this is, like probably, maybe not a 1/2 inch, but maybe like 3/8, something like that. As the ribbon that we're using is fairly wide too. And we'll pull this pretty silver trim through. Okay, now I'm going to push that down, just getting it to stay in place. Now, I think I tried this before. I think I tried putting a glue dot on there, and I'm not sure if it's stuck, but I'm going to try it again just to see, because it's nice if I have a glue dot that I can tie my bow into to help it kind of hold it as I'm making, oh yeah, that's sticking, help as I'm making the various, like the, what do I want to say, the bow is like is tied into 2 parts. There's the 1/2 knot first and then make the bunny ears. So it's nice to have something to tie that 1/2 knot into, so it's not quite so wiggly. Okay. Wish me luck here. So I'm tying my 1/2 knot right onto the glue dot and going stick, 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 stick. There. Now I can tie my bunny ears. There, just to help it so it doesn't move around quite so much. And you may need to go back in and trim your ends, but it's very sparkly and a very pretty tag and quick and easy. So yeah, that's why we made 2 of each tag, because they're so quick and easy, and sometimes you have to give 2 of certain gifts. So I guess this guy's going to go that direction. And I kind of like how the wings go off. It makes for a little bit of interest. Maybe I will grab baby glue dots, not baby dimensionals, I should say. The little guys. There. And there. Okay. Have you been wondering to yourself, Shauna, are you working in your bathrobe today? Why, yes. Yes, I am working in my bathrobe. Oh, that's the lovely thing about, you know, Christmas, and you're busy and you got to do all the things, and sometimes you just do it in your bathrobe. There we go. So that's tag number 1. And I'll move these guys out of the road. You understand how those 2 tags go together. Sparkly and pretty. Those are going to go on some very special gifts, right? Only special people get the really sparkly tags. Tag number 2. So your package will look something like that. And I have some more explaining to do about the things in this kit. So in our mini catalog for September to December, there were some 6x6 papers. It's a package of 6x6 paper, and it had pieces like this, very Christmassy, and like pieces that you could like cut apart to create cards and create tags. And pretty much all the little tag pieces, I have already cut them apart, and they were like this. There were ones with ornaments, there were ones with candy canes, there were ones with trees, there were ones with stockings, and then there were just some that had a plain pattern. They didn't have like a specific focal point to them. So each of you, if you got a takeout package, would have one that's got like a scene. So mine's got the hanging Christmas ornaments, and one that's got a background. And those have been cut with one of the archway dies. Also in the package, there were four sheets of cutouts, of punch-outs. And so in your package, you would have received some punch-outs. Now, yours will not look like mine because there's a whole bunch of different kinds of punch-outs. For mine, I grabbed 2 stockings. Here's another example. I did one that had the bird punch-out with a little bit of branch for the bird to sit on. So you can see I used one of the backgrounds here and one of the backgrounds there. For the ones that have a focal point to them, I just punched out that focal point, or die cut that focal point with archway die. So you can see the different designs. So there's also a candy cane, and just glued them onto the next largest archway die, and then added white piece on the back that says Merry Christmas and to from. So not too much stamping, just a lot of putting together of different pieces. It was really fun to work with this pack. I thought that was a nice idea to kind of create a mix and match set that could be used for tags and for cards. And if you're wondering what this is called, look at that. Christmas tags and more. Oh yes, that's it. Mix and match specialty designer series paper. I wasn't even thinking that that would be called mix and match. So yeah, and I noticed coming up in the next mini catalog, the January through April 2026, there's like sort of like a mix and match Valentine's. So that's going to be fun. And I just ordered that, so I got to check that one out. All right, so we'll assemble a couple of these. Well, maybe I'll assemble this one, because this one is just going to glue onto there and then glue onto the back and punch a hole. And the only thing that I would suggest for these that are kind of already have a focal point is you can go in and you can add like extra sparkle by using the rhinestones that should be in your envelope. And also, like, I went in with Wink of Stella and sparkled up some of the little red Christmas balls here. One of the other gals who did the bird, she went in Wink of Stella her cardinal, so it was a sparkly bird. So you can decide how you want to, zhuzh up your tag just a little bit more. So I'll put this one together really quickly. Let's see here. Did I remember to bring, ooh, I was like, did I remember my garden green ink? I did. And the Merry Christmas and To From is from the Humble Home stamp set. And that was released last year at this time. And it had the I don't know, Humble Home Punch or whatever the name of the punch was. I really liked this one. I was hoping that little house punch was going to stick around longer. But yeah, it's just got these little guys that fit nicely onto small tags. You don't need huge Merry Christmases for just a little Christmas tag. So this is a good size. Ooh, okay. That seems a little sideways to me. Let me see. Have I got another one here? I was not doing that very carefully. What did I do with my other white one? There it is. Okay. Let's try it again and make it so that it's not so Leaning Tower of Pisa. Did that seem better? Yeah, I feel like my To From could have been maybe mounted a little bit straighter, but not bad. And you know, it's kind of like, sort of Charlie Brownish writing. That font is very kind of whimsical, so I guess it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Yeah, no, we're not going for perfect. We're going for done. Let's get done here. So, yeah. This was Garden Green. If you're wanting to have the matchy color of ink with the cardstock piece. And I'm putting this on the back, and you can take a look at your Garden Green arches here. You'll notice that one side has a bit more finished look with the stitch marks. So this is more of the unfinished look in my mind, so I'm putting the writing on the back. And then this has got the more finished stitches, and that's where I'm going to put the patterned archway. And that gets layered here. I used a smaller hole punch for this particular tag, but if you only have a bigger one, that's fine too. I think this is like a 1/8 inch hole punch. Does that sound about right? 1/8, I think. It's that big, whatever that is. And so this ribbon or trim is really interesting. It almost feels papery. It's very stiff. It's called an open weave trim or open weave ribbon. Let's see. Oh, irregular weave trim. And it's, yeah, got a natural look to it. And actually it's kind of, the stiffness makes it easy to work with, because once you get it, you know, pulled into the tag, it's not soft and wanting to move around quite as much as that satiny ribbon that we worked with for the last tag. So, but I am going to use a glue dot again in there, as I like to be able to hold my bow in place. There we go. Getting ahead of myself because I still have to put on my my focal point, my stockings. I'm going to cut the linen thread in half, so I've got one for each of my tags. Okay, so smoosh it into the glue dot. Oh, you know what I didn't do is I didn't kind of pull my thread straight, so it's a little bit curly to work with. There. Something like that. And, oh, I was going to say, I guess it could be trimmed a little bit. Maybe this one is a little bit longer, but pretty close. There we are. Now, I'm going to use dimensionals for my focal point. I suggest that it help popping up your focal point, especially like the main one. This branch just got glued flat, but it just helps to separate the focus from the background, makes it you know, a little bit more visible. So just wondering if these stockings are big enough for, just can kind of just fit. Well, these are kind of trimmed up big dimensionals, but there. And I'm going to put a mini dimensional behind the one, and then the other one is going to overlap at the top like that. Oop. Come on. There. Okay, so I've got my two stockings. And now if I want to go in with my Wink of Stella, I can sparkle up the berries a little bit. There's something about putting Wink of Stella on like red or cherry cobbler that really makes it glow and shine. There. And now I'm thinking about the rhinestones, and I was thinking, well, maybe I could put one at the top of each tree, but it's a very tight spot there. Maybe in the center of each tree. Yeah, I suppose. I think that's what I'm going to do for now. You can play around with your rhinestones and figure out where you might want to put them. There we go. Yeah. So that's basically how those tags go together. There's fun and quick, and yeah, I'll have to do this one later. But that's what we're up to for our December class. So we've got some tags and then a calendar, and you know, those last minute things before Christmas hits. And I feel like I've still got a few last minute things to do. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. And thank you so much for watching my video. Many thanks. Oh, just realized something. Look there's a little yellow embellishment there. I missed that. Look at this. Come here, little guy. There we go. I'm going to put this just over here by You're the Best. There we go. Little sparkle on the inside. Thank you again for taking my classes, supporting my business, or even just watching my Facebook posts and giving a like or a comment. I appreciate all of those things, and I wish you a very happy holiday and a Merry Christmas and all the best for our coming up year of 2026. Have just a wonderful Christmas season, everyone. Bye-bye for now.